Actually participate. You're not going to learn unless you participate. And I will tell you, it was a very valuable lesson for me when I was doing for sale by owners and expireds back in Dallas. I kept, getting ready to get ready. And I have to tell you that the only time I was actually ready is when I started taking action. You got to take action. So, Lumi, if you can turn your camera on, I'd love to have you in here. And I want to start off today by saying this, guys. We're going to play a game of hot potato today. This game is to help you sharpen your skills. And what we're going to do is we're going to open it up. I'm going to pull my timer up, of course. And on my timer, I'm going to put in 30 seconds. I'm not really working to give you like 90 seconds or, even longer to overcome. I just want to see, what is your first response? If someone throws you an objection, are you ready to go with a response? Right. And so when I throw you the hot potato, I actually then want you to be able to take that and move that to another person. So, for example, if I called on Natalia and I say, "Hi, Natalia, here's the objection," she's going to overcome it in less than 30 seconds. However, she handles it, good or bad, I'm going to say hot potato when the timer's over. And then Natalia is going to pick someone from the group and give them an objection. Right. And so, what I did today to help you guys here on Zoom, if you don't have, let me just paste this here in the chat. Actually, that's the wrong one. I'm going to get a link really quickly and paste it in the chat. It's a link to my Google Drive. I have a list of 30 different objection handlers, 10 for FISBOs, 10 for expireds, and then 10 listing objections that you may get when you're on the listing appointment. So if you guys don't really have an objection to share, or you're just being called out on the spot, if you want to, you can feel free to click on this link that I'm sharing you right now. It's going to take you to a Google Drive where I actually have those objection handlers already set and ready for you. All right, is that fair? You guys understand the rules? All right, great. Really quickly before we get started, tell me something. I want one or two people to tell me a win that they had this week, based on potentially what you learn here on the call. However, what are some wins that you've had in your business over this last week since we had our call on Friday? And listen, when I say a win, I just want to be clear about this. Don't compare your wins to anybody else's wins. Somebody's win might be, I got $1 million listing. Your win might be, I made my first call. Like, what is your win? It's all a win. So who's gonna, get out of their comfort zone and raise their hand and share a win with me this week? I got Pete, and then I want another person to share a win. Go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, so I had a seller who was just unrealistic on price, but I kind of almost got up and like walked out because I was like, "There's no chance." But hung in there, stuck with them, and they're kind of coming back down to reality. So they said they want to work with me, so should be working out.
All right. I love to hear that, man. Guys on Instagram, I put the link in the chat. I'm not sure if that's going to work. I apologize. If you want to send me a DM, I'll send you the list after the call, but I don't really have time to address it here. So if that link didn't work, I'll get it to you after the call. Pete, great win, man. All right. Who else has a win for me? I'm not going to start the role play until I hear a win.
Good morning. Follow up. I, got out of it. Sometimes you get comfortable in your skin. Follow up. I continue to do it. About a month ago, I started doing it with all my clients, and we got 3 offers accepted over the week. Just by following up with clients that continuously thought in their head that, I just go and I'll take a look at things on my own time.
Yeah, I love that. And I hope you guys know the difference between just like your basic agent and your millionaire real estate agent. Like, there's only one difference. The millionaire real estate agent never drops the ball around lead gen and follow up. They do it consistently. And the one thing that I learned pretty early on is that we have to learn how to get comfortable with the boredom of focus. Making calls, doing follow up is not the sexy part of our job. None of us really loves to do it, and yet it's required. It's required in our business to actually do it. So if you get comfortable with that and you're learning how to be consistent, you'll have the results that you're actually looking for. So let's go ahead and get into it. I want to do some role play. Everyone on this call, You can choose anyone. I'm going to challenge you, and everybody has to have their camera on. No exceptions except Kimberly, who was my assistant, and she's not doing the role play. So don't call on Kimberly. She's actually my assistant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw out the first objection. Again, I'm putting up the timer. Remember, guys, you're going to have 20. I'll give you 30 seconds. Why don't we do that? I'm going to give you 30 seconds. And from there, you're going to choose another person. I don't want you to choose anyone that you know. I want you to choose someone that you don't know. And y'all ready to go? I'm ready to go. Okay, let me just get my timer down to freaking 30 seconds. Gotta love technology. It doesn't always want to work with you when you need it to. Kimberly, I got somebody in the waiting room if you can let them in. All right, I'm gonna give you, well, we do 30 seconds just to make sure you have enough time to get into it. All right, the first person I'm gonna throw it to, Ashley Davison. Why should I trust you when my last agent couldn't even sell my house?
Why can you trust me? Because I'm going to take your needs above my own. Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
What are you looking for in an agent?
I'm looking for someone who can actually get my home sold. And my last agent swore up and down they could do it, and here we are, expired. So, why should I go with you?
Because I'm going to over communicate. I'm going to make sure you know every step of the way what is happening, if we need adjustments, feedback. And I'm also going to start from the beginning and show you the marketing plan so that we can come up with the correct price and make sure that this is the right strategy to get your home sold.
Okay. So Ashley, now I want you to choose someone, and you're actually going to be the seller, and we're going to rinse and repeat. Kimberly, don't kick off Holly. Read the comments. She'll have her camera on in a second. All right, Ashley, you choose someone, and let's move it on.
Am I doing a different role play or the same role play?
You can choose whatever objection you want. You could choose the same one, but the person can't give the same response that you gave. They have to switch it up. So that's all.
Okay, I'm going to choose David Gossett.
All right, he's unmuting. I always like watching people's faces. They try to figure out, how do I unmute on my phone? This is crazy. It's crazy. It's okay, harder than it needs.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can. All right, throw it out to him.
We want to just sell it on our own. We've had a bunch of calls from different realtors, bring us a buyer.
Okay, you want me to bring you a buyer? I can appreciate that. Ashley, tell me, what's your experience with selling homes?
This is the second home I'd be selling. We sold our first home on our own, and we bought this from a family friend, so we're pretty familiar.
Okay. And what made you decide to list it with another agent before deciding to sell it on your own?
I just feel like agents are a little too greedy.
Too greedy. So at the end of the day, it sounds like your concern is how much you net at the end of the transaction?
Yeah, I want to walk away with a lot of money. As much money.
Okay. Well,
all right, great questions. It's a hot potato. I'm gonna end you there, but we're going down the right. So I hope you guys understand the importance of this. Right now, the importance is not to get the appointment. The importance is we have to be ready when we get an objection. When we call someone, the minute they answer the phone, we got to be ready to respond. And this game that we're playing right now, I'm going to encourage you to play this with your role play partner. You guys should have a day where you just pick up the phone and you say, will you lower your commission? You go right into objection handling and pass objections back and forth. You want to be sharp. You can't hesitate. When you hesitate, there's doubt in that seller's mind. Like, I'm not sure about this person. So what we're working on right now is your reflex to respond and have something to say to any objection that you get. David, you got to stay unmuted because I want you to find someone to actually overcome the objection you give them, and you stay on and you be the seller.
Natalia.
All right, let's go.
Natalia, I don't want to pay 6%. That's just too much money.
You don't want to pay 6%.
No.
Okay. Well, when I will see you on Friday at 5 p.m., we will definitely talk about this, and I will explain it to you how I sell houses and what is included in my commission. But for now, are you good to meet with me at on Friday at 5 p.m.?
I just don't know if we need to meet if you can't do it for 5%. Like, if you tell me you can do it for 5%, then we can meet.
So right now, I think what is important for you, what I understand is important for you, is how much you will get money into your pocket at the end of the
Yes.
transaction.
Yes.
So, well,
All
it's
right.
not a
Hot potato.
conversation
We
of
over. We over. 30 seconds is not a lot of time, but that's the point. I want to move it through and give everybody an opportunity. So try to
Good
choose
job,
people who
Natalia.
haven't been called on. Good job there. All right. You're up next.
well, I will go with Kim.
Oh, Kim. Okay.
Kim, yes.
Okay. Give it to her. Kim, unmute, please.
So, Kim, I'm not in a rush to sell my house.
Oh, I understand, Natalia. What has put you on the market recently?
Well, I just see that market doing well, and I see it's a seller's market. I try to just maybe sell it for more than it's really cost.
I understand. So has your plans changed, your motivation as to where you were going? Has that changed for you?
I don't really have to leave my house, but if the price is right for me, I probably gonna do this.
All right. Time. Let's keep it moving. Kim, give it to somebody else.
Let me see who's on the call. How about Erica?
All right. Let's go.
So Erica, would you mind doing like a flat rate in a commission?
I think she's saying no. I'm not sure. Is that a no? Erica, are you able to unmute? Where is Erica? Where is she? All right, move on. Let's call somebody else. I don't want to waste time if she can't unmute. If you guys are called on though and you don't go, I'm asking, why are you here? It's okay if you don't have the right answer. You can say
Alexandra.
Okay, let's go.
I think Erica was
Alexandra?
trying to answer. I'm just
Oh,
saying.
she was. Erica, were you trying to answer?
Yeah. She just couldn't unmute. I think
Are you there?
Where's Erica?
Oh, there I am. My bad.
All right, Erica, all good. I'm happy you're here. That's what's up. Let's go. Give it to her again, Kim.
Well, you know what? I'm going to change it. I have a friend in the business that offered to do it for me and at a lower rate.
Oh, that's nice. What I would like to do is I would like to set up an appointment and talk to you about the benefits of having a realtor and what we do and educate you on what I do and how I sell your house. How does that sound to you?
I appreciate that, but she's an agent. She's just a friend, but she's an agent as well. But she was willing to do it at a discounted rate.
Okay.
Potato. I gotta jump in here real quick. So, Kim, I love that you got that because we get that a lot. I want you guys to throw that same particular objection around a couple times. So, Erica, I want you to choose someone. I want to hear how somebody else will handle that same objection. I have a friend in the business who's going to do it at a reduced commission. Let's hear 2 or 3 people go through that because that's something you guys are going to come up against, and I want you guys to be prepared for that.
Okay. Who's on my screen? Pam.
All right, Pam, unmute. All right.
Okay. So it's for a discounted. Okay, so can I ask why haven't you already hired your friend that's going to do it at a discounted rate?
I haven't hired them because I want to check out other real estate agents and see what they have to offer.
Okay, so let's set up an appointment and I can show you exactly what I have to offer. And I will show you why I'm worth what I'm worth. How is Tuesday at 6 o'clock.
Tuesday at 6 o'clock. I am actually working.
All right, that's time. Pam, real quick, I have to say this. When we are setting up appointments, guys, give 2 options. I can do Tuesday at 6 or I can do Wednesday at 4. Like, make sure you're giving 2 options.
Got it.
All right. All right. And be careful with those long pauses in between when you're speaking because you're going to lose people. Like, wrap it up. Okay, how about Tuesday at 6 p.m. or Wednesday at 4? Go for it. All right. And now, Pam, I want you to give this to someone else. Same objection. I want you to save the objection to the person. Say, hey, I have a friend who's willing to do it at a lower commission. And then they're going to overcome it.
Okay. How about Athea?
Okay. Althea, you unmuted. Say yes when you are. Okay, let's go. Give it to her.
So I have a friend that's going to be selling my house at a discounted rate.
Okay, perhaps your friend and I can collaborate and work together to get your home sold. Do you think we could be introduced via email or meet in person at the property?
Never thought of that. That's a good, let me reach out to my friend and see if she's willing to collaborate.
Okay, and I'll be in the area Tuesday at 4 or Wednesday at 6. When are you available?
Wednesday at 6 is good.
See you then.
We're going to do this objection one more time. And Althea, thank you for participating. I'm going to tell you this. Don't go there first. That may be like at the end, like last case scenario. That's when you might want to use that. But I wouldn't lead with that because you're leaving your money on the table. So I would fight for them listening with me first. And if they're adamant and it becomes a condition, like I got to use my friend, then that's something that you could throw out there that might help you still win the business. I wouldn't lead with that though. It's a good one to have in your pocket. Just don't lead with that one. Really good. That's good. Okay, pick somebody else and let's get it moving.
Barclay.
Oh, Mr. Miami.
Ready.
All right.
So I have a friend that's an agent and she's going to work with me for a discounted rate.
Okay, I'm definitely happy to hear that. And question, did she negotiate that with you or she offered that to you?
She offered.
Okay, and do you know why that worries me?
I'm sorry?
Do you know why that worries me?
Oh, please tell me.
If she's willing to leave money on the table for herself, what do you think she's going to do with your money?
She's just trying to help a friend.
I understand that completely, but do you see the point I'm trying to make?
Yeah, but I think it's a reach.
All right. I'm gonna pause there. Let me ask you guys, what do you think about this hot potato? If I could be honest with you, I thought it'd go a little bit differently. I wanted to try something different, but I feel like I need to get into the meat of some script practice right now. I don't know about you guys. What do you think about hot potato? Thumbs up or thumbs down? We're going to cancel it or what's up?
I liked it.
You like it? Okay. And yeah, Jerome, I feel the same way. I'm like, because what I like is that you guys are learning how to respond quickly. And then what I don't like about it is I feel like I'm stopping you just as you're getting to maybe some meat of the conversation. It would be helpful to hear it. So maybe we'll do it a little bit more, but we'll change the timing on it. Before I get into this, though, what are you guys noticing from the people who are responding? Is there anything that you think they should do a better job at when they're responding to an objection? I'm going to ask Matt Saporito, and then I'm going to ask Bomika. Hey, Bomika.
That's good. Good morning. You mind repeating that? I was getting my audio set up.
Oh, all good. So based on what you heard from people responding on the hot potato challenge, what is something that everyone could work on when it comes to responding to objections that they actually get from a seller?
Responding. Like we have to work a little bit on actually responding. I do like, I just want to give flowers to those who were uncomfortable and said something. Say something. Like, I think I heard, I apologize, in the shower earlier. I was like, someone said, I'm hiring an agent. It's my friend and they're at a reduced rate. I don't know who it was, but the response was, "Oh, that's nice," and I was just like, "Yes, that's wonderful. You should say that. You should absolutely say that." And it's like, it's actually funny because that would be a pattern interrupt.
Yeah.
But you said something, right? And then it's like what we say afterwards. Um, I love what and how based questions. Every time I get an objection, I just think about how I can ask a no based question with what or how in front of it. Now I'm going
Love
to
that.
set you up.
So,
So,
Matt, I would love for you to give an example, but I love Penny on Instagram was saying the same thing, like more questions. We need to go into
yeah.
question mode. Um, Motivation needs to be hit a little bit more upfront, in my opinion, as well. But when you say you like to ask questions, like how-based questions, you want to
Yeah.
run through and give a quick example for people so they know exactly what you're referring to?
Sure. You can give me any objection, and then I will try to ask as many what or how based questions.
Matt, listen, we were actually listed with someone from your company, so we're going to go in a different direction this time.
Okay, wonderful. So did you know what company we knew what company I was with before I got here today?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you knew what company I was from, right?
Mhm.
And yet we still had a meeting. What made you keep it?
I mean, I just like what you were saying on the phone. I felt
Mhm.
like I just wanted to meet with you. However, when we talked about it, before you came out, we just didn't have a great experience, and we feel like we should give another company a shot.
I got you. So what kind of experience were you looking for?
My house getting sold. I mean,
Okay. Okay. And how did you envision doing that?
well, I mean, I would envision my agent would have a plan to get it done. They said that they could get it done, in 30 days or less. They promised me this great number, and we didn't have the activity, nor did we have the offer. So,
Okay, I'm tracking. So after everything that I've gone through today, David, what has got you thinking we shouldn't be doing the right thing right now and getting this paperwork signed and get your house sold?
I mean, everything you said sounds good, but it sounded good from your partner at your company as well, and they didn't do it. So my concern is getting the same result.
Tell me more about what they didn't do.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause you there. You
Yeah.
guys see the
So at that
questions?
point, I would say, okay, hold on. You keep saying the same thing twice. You triggered twice off of the agent from your company didn't do what they were supposed to do. I got
Yeah,
my company objection out of the way, right? You got
yep,
me there, and we knew about that ahead of time. So that's squashed. Now I want to know what's stopping us from signing paperwork today.
yeah. And you know what's interesting? The art of storytelling, we've been talking about that a lot and why it's important to be in the office. You hear different agents talking about situations they go through, and it allows you to use a script like Keith is mentioning here on Instagram. It's one of my favorite scripts. Feel, felt, found, if you guys know what that is. So like in Matt's situation where the seller's saying like, listen, we've been with your company before. I understand you feel that way. I've had other, sellers who have felt the exact same way. However, what they found out was that it's not the company they're hiring. It's actually the agent, right? So are you telling me that if I worked for another company, you would give me the listing? Is my company the only thing keeping you from listing with me? And they're like, yeah, I had a bad experience with them. Well, let me ask you, like, what's your favorite restaurant? Okay, if you went there one night and you didn't have the best experience, are you going to stop going? Yeah, probably not, right? You may have just had a bad server, they may have had a bad night, etc. You can explain that out and get them to see that it's not the agent, it's not the company, right? It's actually the agent. And you go through that by having scenarios and talking about, I understand how you feel that way. Other people have felt that way before. Here's what they found. That's when the art of storytelling comes in. That's when it's really important. Who else was I going to ask for feedback? Bamika. Bamika, you have any feedback from the people so far? And Pete, you're right. I'm reading the comments right now. Yeah, the point was to overcome the objections, not necessarily dig into it. But I'm just so wired to find motivation. It's kind of hard for me to push past that. And yet you're right. You're right, Pete. Go ahead, Bamika.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I think Matt said it all when it's about asking the right questions. And I think you need to be quick sometimes when you're on the call, especially, if you're talking to expireds, you don't know sometimes what you want to answer. So acknowledge, repeat the question, and, that gives you a time, but it's ask questions. So, for example, a friend in the industry, okay, what's important to you? listing with a friend at a discounted rate, or netting the most amount of money. Hypothetically speaking, if I were to bring you 5 to 10% more than what your friend is, are you open-minded to meeting with me? Or are you still obligated to list with your friend? If they still say that I'm still obligated, I'm not wasting my time there. I just move on. So asking first they are motivated, like go there, ask questions. And then sometimes I ask them what stopped their property from selling. And then I go to the motivation, because then they open up more, they just asking the right questions.
I love that. I love that. I feel like I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't bring this up. Bomika said, if they told me they're obligated to work with their friend or family, I'm moving on. Anybody else would fight for a little bit more? Would you fight for it, or would everybody just move on? I'm a fight for that. I still feel like there's an opportunity there when someone says, I feel obligated.
100%.
I'm gonna throw that to Jerome. And Jerome, I like to hear how you would handle that. Hey, Jerome, now listen, man. I got to tell you, we're obligated to actually list with our friends. So I appreciate you calling.
David, I completely understand. Let me ask you a question and be honest. What's most important to you, the obligation to that friend or making the most amount of money to get your property sold?
That's it. Making the most money.
Okay. Let's get the process started.
Okay. I want you to go a little deeper there, because I'm still going to say, but yeah, it's making the most money, but they talked to me about their plan and they are going to net me the most money possible. They went over a marketing plan, pricing plan. They feel really confident that they're going to sell my home at top dollar.
Okay. And I could agree with that and I understand. But when you say that it's best that you look at all possible options when it comes to getting this property sold,
I have looked at some options. I have talked to other agents, just out of a courtesy, and yet, we're obligated to use them. This friendship goes 30 years, and my concern is, the relationship.
Yeah, and since it's a 30-year relationship, I'm pretty sure like a transaction like this won't get in the way of you getting your property sold. Is that safe to say, David?
I don't know. That's what concerns me.
Okay. All right. That concerns me too, because if you have a strong relationship with this person and this transaction can get in that way, that's a little concerning. And I'm not forcing you to do anything. Let's meet so I can show you an option. And if you like my plan, you can go with it. If you like your friend's plan, you go with that one. How does that sound for you, David?
Okay, I'm going to say okay to that. So you see how Jerome was able to keep going. There are a lot of different things you can say, but he's asking questions. He's probing a little bit more. But Mika, give it to me.
I have a question. So how many times when you have a situation like this, because this has happened with me a lot of times, and I get into a discussion where I feel that this is something that okay, how are you going to feel if this doesn't work out and you find yourself in the same spot after 6 months? What is that going to do to your friendship? How many times do you close before you move on? I close at least 4 times in the situation. And if I don't get an answer and it's a conversation, it's not like I'm not listening or I don't want to talk about it. So when I get a feeling that I don't think I can win this, because there is my friend has given me business, so I have to help him. I don't know. I'll see. How many times do you close before you decide that you want to move on?
So I will tell you, at my let the power of one more, go one more time. So my whole philosophy with this, Bamika, is if it was really a condition and they were like, got to go with my friend, and you're attempting to convince them to still talk with you, and they're on the phone and they're asking you questions and they're giving you objections and pushback, to me, that's telling me I still have an opportunity. Because think about it. If I was really set on using my friend, I'd be like, Bamika, thank you so much. I already have someone click. They're still talking with you. They're still engaging with you. They just want to be convinced, and you haven't convinced them yet. And so in my opinion, if you want the listing, I'm going to keep going. And a lot of people are bringing this up in the chat, and Denise said it too. Like 30 years of friendship, I understand you don't want to jeopardize that by hiring another agent. I get it. Let me ask you, if you hire your friend and things are not going well with that transaction and your home isn't getting sold, are you going to feel comfortable firing your friend? Like what does that do to 30 years of friendship?
Somebody told me that I'll wait. So you're right. You have to identify if that's a condition or an objection.
Yeah, and they're saying they're waiting. Is that a smokescreen though? Like, listen, I'm okay if you wait. Do you understand how waiting could cost you tens of thousands of dollars? Are you aware of that, how that can cost you money?
Yeah. Okay.
So that's where I would take it and just keep asking questions. Guys, one thing I will tell you, you're giving up too quickly. You're not closing enough. We are calling and we want to show people I'm your best option. I can get this property sold for top dollar and I'm going to get you to the closing table. That's why you want to hire me. And yet you aren't working hard to close them. Don't be afraid to say, listen, I know I'm continuing to show up and show you why you should hire me. I hope that shows you what type of bulldog I am. I'm going to work this hard to get your property sold. You want an agent like me because I understand the power of closing. The difference between you putting this house on the market and you actually getting it sold is having an agent like me that understands how to close. And so keep going. I would power of one more, just keep going until they hang up on you. Play the hang up game, which is something I used to play all the freaking time because lead generating and prospecting can be boring, as you guys know, really boring. Most of us don't like it, including me. So I used to play the hang up game to have fun with it. And I'm like, I'm going to say everything I know to say until I get this business or they hang up on me.
Hey, David, can I push back on you a little bit on something?
No.
Come on.
What's up, man?
No, it's just, you said, getting the home sold or not, right? And I just feel in my head, I'm just telling you how I'm feeling, how I'm hearing it in my head. In my head, I'm like, everything's selling quickly. Nothing's really sitting on the market. So I feel like how do you overcome that? Like, how do you kind of maybe reframe that where it's like the importance is not getting it sold or not necessarily? What are some of the other strings you can pull on to kind of like maybe redo that a little bit or kind of, you know what I'm saying? Because
I hear you. I hear you. Things are selling quickly. And yet, I don't know if you've noticed it, but homes are sitting on the market a little bit longer now. What are you guys seeing as your average? Have you seen your average increase? Days on market? You're not in your area, Pete? They're still selling quickly. No,
not really. I mean, maybe a day or two, like very minimal, not enough to track and actually like say
to make
like,
a significant difference. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying like if someone's saying pushing back, you don't want to use that as an objection handler. You want to go a different route with that conversation.
Well, I'm just thinking, I think the fear of the home sitting on the market is less in today's market. And I think it could even be more of it moving too quickly at times, but I just don't know that, separating yourself necessarily is the difference between like it's selling or not. Maybe it's selling for the most money or selling, whatever. I mean, I guess I know every situation is obviously different, but I'm just sharing with you when I hear you say that in my head as like an agent, I'm thinking, well, everything's selling quick.
I hear that. So you got to talk about terms and you got to be really specific. I mean, to your point, not every offer is the best offer. So it's about getting the best offer, the best terms. There's so much that goes into it. Curtis, you threw your hand up. What do you have to throw into this conversation?
I was just going to add to Pete's comment. I think the real answer to the question is if you knew that 15 or 30 minutes could potentially net you an extra 30 to 50K, then would that be worth your time? So instead of the days on market or the time on market, it's really about the price, right? That would be.
And that's the most important thing to most sellers. I mean, some people, I had a situation when I was coaching someone the other day and the timing was for them. Like they needed to get it sold really quickly. It wasn't necessarily top dollar. They had a family emergency. So it can be a little different, but I think you're absolutely right. Matt, what do you mean more pre-qual? Where's Matt? Matt, you back in the shower?
I think for me, just to share kind of where I guess I'm kind of maybe going with it is maybe instead of being like, getting it sold or not, I think it's like the difference between like a quality agent who's going to do everything to make sure you like, how would you, hey, listen, I appreciate you want to work with your friend. And honestly, I don't know. It doesn't sound like your friend's doing any favors, but let me ask you, if you got this home sold and then you came to find out that you actually left, $10,000 or $20,000 on the table because that agent, your friend, didn't do absolutely every single thing that they could to make sure you got the most money. How would that make you feel?
That's a powerful question, Pete.
Because then it's not about it getting sold or not. That's like, everything's selling. I'm not worried about that. Any idiot could sell a home in this market. That's what they think. But if it's like something I always try to focus on is like, hey, listen, there's no one thing that's going to get your home sold for the most money, right? It's doing the door knocking, doing the circle prospecting, making sure the photos are good. It's like all these things that come together that I think is something to focus on or important to, instead of just getting it sold or not. I'm not trying to jump on anything.
No, I love where you're coming from. And listen, before I go to Matt, really quickly, 404 Ali iPhone 2 cameras have to be up, and you need to rename yourself, or I got to have Kimberly remove you from the call. We got to participate, which means cameras on. Pete, one thing I noticed about you, and I don't know if you guys noticed this about Pete, when he threw that question out there, he was ready to do this. Shut up and let them respond. So many times you go through a question out and you're answering your own question. Allow the seller to respond. You guys will see me on this call a lot of times doing this. This is literally me taking these two fingers and keeping my mouth shut because I want to talk. I want to respond. I want to say something else. You can hurt yourself if you continue talking. Let them answer your question. See what their response is, because they could give you additional information to help you. If you start talking, you could talk yourself out of the opportunity. So learn how to ask the questions and do what Pete did. Be quiet. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, I just feel like I would sift through this during my pre-qualifying questions, and then that would be where I would rank, how these listings or how these properties come in. So like if I'm prospecting somebody and they're telling me like, oh, they're telling me they're willing to take an appointment with me, but they already have somebody in mind. Okay, so that tells me they're looking to sell their house, but they're unsure how to use. So now if it comes up now, like, okay, great, wonderful, we set the appointment. I have a couple extra questions for you before I come so that make sure that I'm ready. Do you have 10, 30 seconds for that? Yep, no problem. Wonderful. Is there anybody else that you're interviewing that for this thing? Yeah, we're interviewing, this person, this one. Wonderful. Do you know any of these people personally, or is this, you're kind of just doing this on your own? And they're like, oh no, this person's a friend of mine. Oh, really? How long have you been doing that? And then I dive down that right away because I want to know right now if I have a good shot at it or not. Otherwise, I'm not going to waste my time and go out on the appointment.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Thank you guys for all that feedback. I'm throwing this one out here. Mr. Brian Miller, let me throw this past you. You're at my house at a listing appointment. You've covered everything. You've covered price. You've covered commission with me. You're asking me to sign the paperwork. And my objection to you is, Brian, we're going to take a night to think it over. We'll give you a call back tomorrow and let you know what we decide. What do you say?
Was there anything that, are there any questions that you have for me that I didn't go over with you to make you?
No. I may have some questions later on, but right now we interview you and other agents. We need to compare and make a decision, and we'll take like this evening to think it over, and we'll have a decision made Saturday morning. I'll give you a call before 12.
All right, sounds good. Is there anything that I could do, or any other things that could help you, that I could help you make a decision sooner?
I mean, I understand your commission, but if you could bring that down the percentage point, that would help us make a decision.
Yes, I understand. But do you see the value within the conversation that we just had that could help you make more money?
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I talked to a few agents and they were willing to take it at a lower commission. So that's one of the things that we're considering is, our net, what we put in our pocket. And so the commission plays a big piece in that.
I understand that.
I'm gonna pause you there because we got our time at a minute. Let me ask you this, Brian. Coming out the gate, is there anything you think you could have said differently?
Oh yeah. It's I wanted to come across as I was just trying to figure out how to word, like how can I help you? Basically, like, was there something that I said that would make you delay, giving an answer today?
Okay.
Or something I didn't cover.
Got it. Okay. Pete, go ahead. Give it to him. Give Brian some feedback there.
You're muted.
I messed this one up on a listing appointment recently, so I was raising my hand to volunteer.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. I'm coming to you next, Pete. We'll volunteer. We'll do the same thing. Jerome, what feedback did you have for Brian? Let's keep our feedback to like 30 seconds.
Yeah, my quick feedback is when you ask permission-based stuff, they can respond quick and stagger you, which is what happened. You said, are there any questions? He said no, and it staggered you. If you say, what questions do you have for me? That gets them thinking more, and you have more time to respond. So try to ask assumptive questions versus permission-based stuff. Are you, do you? It's like, what questions do you have for me? That's it.
Okay.
That's solid feedback.
Yeah. Yes. That's what I was trying to get at. Yep. He's right. He's right. He's right.
I mean, that's the whole point of coming here. Like we all have like these responses to come out. All we're doing is fine tuning what you're already saying. It's not what you said is wrong. It's how you said it. And so it's just a matter of fine tuning, man. Thank you. Good job, Brian.
Guys.
Absolutely. Hey, Pete, listen, man, I appreciate you coming by. Michelle and I are going to take the night to think this over, and we'll get a response to you and let you know what we decide by noon Saturday.
Okay, perfect. And so let me just ask you guys, I mean, is there any reason that you wouldn't hire me to sell your home?
I mean, nothing that I can think of right now. We met with 2 other agents, and you guys shared a lot of information. Some of the prices were a little different, commissions were different. We just need to sit down and figure out what is the best situation for us, and we just need to evaluate it.
Right, absolutely. I can certainly appreciate that. And so, David, when we spoke, well, let me ask you this: you met with the other agents. How come you didn't hire them when they were here?
Well, I wanted to meet with you. I've heard of you, seen some of your signs up in town, so I didn't want to make a decision until I met with everyone. And so I wanted to give you a shot to come in here and show us what you could do.
Okay, perfect. And with that being said, I mean, you feel comfortable and confident that I can get your home sold for the most money in the best amount of time. Is that correct?
Yeah, I felt that out of everyone we met. But yeah, I felt that you could get the job done.
Okay. Perfect. That's good. And so we're good on price based on, what we looked here on the statistics, right? Are we on the same page with price?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we're good with commission.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
If I'm being honest with you, yours was a tad higher.
Okay. Gotcha. So is commission the only thing that would keep you from getting started with me today?
It's one of the things that we are having an issue with because we need to net a certain amount. I'm gonna keep going with you for a second because I like where you're going. We need to net a certain amount, Pete, for this house that we're buying. So yeah, that's something that we are taking into consideration.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So tell me, how much do you need to net from the sale of this house?
We need to net 250. And so we need to look at the numbers, and based on what you're telling us and the other agents, I mean, your commission was a half a point higher than the other people that we interviewed. So
only half a point?
Yeah,
all right, cool. Sounds like you actually met some decent agents, because sometimes I hear all kinds of crazy numbers. So let me ask you this. I mean, we're talking, your house is 600. We're talking about $3,000, right?
Right.
So if you knew spending an extra 3,000 could net another 10 or $20,000 in your pocket, would you do that?
All day.
100%. 100%. So look, let's break down these numbers. I'm going to do a net sheet. And what I can tell you is with my full commission, we're leaving no stone unturned. We're going to make sure that we do all of the things, and we're not cutting corners because we had to cut commission. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Let's go through this net proceed sheet. Make sure we can net you that 250 so we can get you where you want to be when you want to be there. Is that fair enough?
Man, I love all the questions, Pete. You took me down the road and you got me to see and you got me to give you the information so that you could overcome the objection. We're talking $3,000. And so, Pete, let me ask you this. Do you know what your list price to sales price ratio is off the top of your head? Roughly, though? Okay. Let's say, though, we know that number. We need to know that number. You guys get that information, know that information.
Well,
let me tell you why it's so important, though. Like, if I ran my numbers and I really did my job pre-qualifying the seller, I know who they're interviewing, right? So I'm going to have my stats, and I'm going to know I sell houses at 104% to list price, right? What's the competition that they're interviewing? What is their list price to sales price ratio? If it's even 1% lower than mine, there it is. I'm going to show you how I make you more money. Let's look at the stats. You interviewed Aaron and Robert. They net their sellers this. This is what I net my sellers. So just by hiring me, that $3,000 you're concerned about, you're going to end up making $10,000 more. And sometimes you have to run the numbers and get some paper out and actually show them so that they can make a decision. You have to know your numbers in order to do that.
Share one other thing, just from a recent listing experience. I've done a lot of I do a lot of Sphere, so a lot of people know me. So it's not as much of like that. It's a lot more relationship based, as you can maybe say it is with buyers. What I realized on this listing appointment, which was a referral from someone else, someone who I didn't know, and going up against other agents, sellers want to like you, like buyers will work with you just because they like you, right? Like for the most part, more or less. Sellers need to see numbers, data, stats, things like that. And I totally dropped the ball. Even you asking me like my list price to sale price ratio, office stats, like that's one thing I learned from this, from not getting it, is I believe that if I showed up with a heavier like track record of stats of things that I actually have, even just my office, I would have had a much better chance of getting it. And they ended up just going with what they felt was a safer option because it was someone local. Where if I had the statistics to back up the personality and things like that, I think I would have. It's important to have those numbers.
And so, Pete, really quickly, I want to keep on this conversation. I know a lot of people on Instagram and on Zoom right now are thinking, yeah, but I'm not Pete. I haven't been doing real estate for years. I haven't sold anything. So when you tell me to have stats, I don't have any. What should those agents that are on the call do in order to be able to talk about numbers?
Yeah, go to your office. Your office should be providing stats every month with what they're doing and giving you, ammo, tools in your tool belt that you can bring and just show on the table. I think it's, yeah.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important that you guys choose the right office and company to work with, because if you're new, you have no stats. It's not I sell homes for X, it's we sell homes for X. And so you need to go to your office, go to your team leader, your broker, know what those numbers are. For those of you who don't know, it's called LORE, LORE, language of real estate. The numbers you need to know are the average days on market, list price versus sales price ratio. You should know those numbers and you should be updating that monthly. So every time you go on an appointment, you're updating what those numbers are for your office. And then once you start getting sales, you're updating what those numbers are for you personally, if that makes sense. Let me just check my time. Okay, 9:17. So I want someone else to handle this, someone who has not spoken today. I want to give you the same objection. I want to think it over because there's something that I always do that works. And I want someone who hasn't spoken up yet to see if they can get it. Who we got? Somebody get out your comfort zone and say, I'm going to give this a try. Even if I mess it up, this is a safe space and we sweat and practice so we don't bleed in war. Okay. I wish I could call your name iPhone, but I don't know what your name is, iPhone. Who are you?
Violeta.
Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
Violeta.
I know who you are, but I want to make sure everybody else hears it. All right. It was good seeing you Saturday. Anyhow, let's go. I want to think it over. So, we'll give you a call. I appreciate you coming by. Left us with a lot of valuable information. We're going to make a decision and let everybody know what we decide tomorrow at 12.
Okay. So can I ask you a quick question about that? I appreciate that, but can I ask you a quick question about that?
Sure.
Is it me as an agent that you do not agree on getting the listing?
No, I mean, it's just we talked to two other agents and we just need to sit down and talk and think it over and make a decision. That's all.
Is it the commission that I'm asking you for?
No, I mean, I would always be happier with the lower commission, but I understand what you charge and why you charge it. I get it. I'm taking all that into consideration.
And is it the price that we decided on putting the house on the market?
No, you guys were all pretty similar with the price you gave us. You were in the range.
Okay, then can I ask you a quick question about that? What is it that you are hesitating on signing the contract right now?
We just need to think it over. We talked to two other agents. We just need some time to digest and talk it over.
Okay. Have you spoken with these agents recently, or you're just waiting to meet with them?
So I'm going to pause you really quickly. I want to jump in here and say a couple things to you really quickly. And thank you for getting out of your comfort zone and raising your hand, because I know it can be a little tough. You got everybody looking at you and you feel like you have to say the right thing. You don't have to say the right thing. You have to say what comes to your mind. And our job is to help you learn how to say the right thing. So I appreciate you just getting out of your comfort zone. Stop asking permission. Can I ask you? I will tell you, and this is when I'm going to start preaching. So maybe I'll get a few amens. I got to say this, though. We are asking for permission too much. Can I ask you a question? Is it okay if I come to your house and meet with you? Stop. Tell them. Stop asking for permission.
Okay.
and just ask your question, right? And then the other thing is, I said it about 4 times, and I don't know if you really heard me. What was my objection?
The objection
You
is
needed to talk to your wife and figure out what you guys want to do.
I want to think it over, right?
yes.
So what I'm asking is, why aren't we allowing people to think it over? Violetta,
Yes.
three heads are better than 2. I appreciate you need to think it over. Let's sit down right now and let's go over what you talked about with those other agents and how it compares to what I offer. And let's make a decision tonight.
Okay.
Or Violetta, I get it. You know, you sound like you're just like my wife, Michelle, and I. We don't make a decision without thinking it over. So I respect that, actually. So here's what I'm going to do, Violetta. I'm going to step out to my car. I have a few calls to return and a few emails to send out. It'll take me about 10 or 15 minutes. After I complete that, I'm going to come back in and we're going to make a decision on whether or not you decide to hire me tonight or whether I choose to take your listing. Either one's fine. All right.
Okay. Sounds wonderful.
And then I'm going to walk out the door and go to my car and do what I said I'm going to do and come back in 15 minutes. Guess what will happen when you do that?
You'll make them think it over and make a decision right there and then.
And what are you showing them because you took control? What are you showing them about you as a real estate agent?
That you are ready to list the property and you are ready to move forward.
I'm ready to move forward, but I'm also showing them that I know how to close. We don't close enough. We walk away and we're like, hey, you know, all right, call me tomorrow. And guess what? They never call. They just end up listing with somebody else. So by saying I'm going out to my car, it gives them an opportunity to think. And it's also showing them we know how to close. We know how to actually wrap things up and get the paperwork signed. If those other agents they interviewed knew how to do that, you wouldn't even have the interview. We need to close a little bit more. Anybody else have anything else for that scenario before we move on?
I just think the thing I always try to remember is like, would you rather not get the listing because you didn't ask enough times, or would you rather not get the listing because you asked, you know, and have asked all the times, like, and given it every chance?
Yeah. And people, here's the thing. I think a lot of people, even if they are continuing to close, they are making it more about them than about the seller. What if you said to, like, if Pete was the seller and I said, Pete, you know, I know that I've, you know, asked you to sign the paperwork a couple of times. The reason why I'm asking you this is because I understand what your motivation is. And when we talked, you told me that if you don't have this house sold at the latest by the end of December, it's going to disrupt your entire family. You're going to have to move out to California for that new job and your wife has to stay here. And based on our conversation, that wasn't really an option for you guys. You want to move out there together and close this chapter in your life. Is that still the case? Yeah. See, I understand that. And I only work with sellers that are coachable and motivated. I know I can sell your property and I know I can get it done. And so I want to make sure that you make the right decision for you because, again, you don't want to be in California by yourself with Ashley still here, right?
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Yeah. So if I could show you a way that I can get this property sold, like go back over the numbers with you, make sure you understand the pricing, making sure you're good with the commission. And at the end of that conversation, your confidence in me is so high. Would you sign that paperwork with me?
Yeah, I mean, I think we might have to revisit the commission a little bit because 2 of the other agents that were out here were talking about different numbers. And I think that's probably a big hang up right now.
Listen, it should be a hang up, but for a different reason. Can I explain?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I know you got to get out there by December. Is it just a time frame or is it about what you net when you sell this home? Is what you net really important to you as well?
Yeah, I mean, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you hire, I'm going long on this for a reason because I want to wrap it up after this. But Pete, when you hire an agent, I'm sure some of the key things you're looking for in the agent you hire is someone that's, you know, a highly skilled negotiator, right?
I mean, yeah.
You want them to be able to negotiate the best price on your home and make sure you get the best terms, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So that's what even concerns me about you looking at those other agents. They've already showed you how they negotiate. They can't even defend how they take care of their family and how they get paid. So when it comes down to it, Pete, do you think they're going to defend the equity in your property or do the same thing they did to actually earn your listing, which is drop the price?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense.
I'm a bulldog, man. I got to tell you, I know I can get this property sold. My commission is what it is because of what I do. And if you see my value and you see the importance of hiring an agent that knows how to negotiate and can get you to California by December, why don't we go ahead and get the paperwork started? And what I'll do, Pete, for you, I'll call those other two agents so you don't have to be bothered making that call. And I'll tell them that you decided to list with me. If I could do that for you tonight and make those calls here from your house, would you sign the paperwork with me tonight so we can get started?
You know what, man? Yeah, I think I got to say I'm impressed. Yeah, I mean it sounds good. I think that makes sense.
All right. Give me some feedback. I want to hear some feedback, Pete. What did I say that you were like, no, Dave, I'm not agreeing with that? What should I have said differently?
No, I actually, I really liked how you said, well, if that's important to you, like you kind of broke it, you led them the way where you're like, hey, is this what you're looking for? You're looking for someone who negotiates, right? You're looking for someone who's going to fight for their commission and your price, blah, blah, blah. Well, if that's important to you, then I got to tell you, I'm the right guy. Or you said something like to that effect. And I thought that was like, I thought that was a really good way to do it. You showed what you're going to do with talking with other agents, with negotiating on your behalf, my behalf. So I think that, yeah, I mean, I think that's really good.
I'm not afraid to have that conversation and go there because our income is in direct proportion with our ability to have some uncomfortable conversations. We got to get used to it. We got to be able to go there.
I felt like you did a really good job of like taking control of the conversation is one, but what I was going to say was just like kind of showing that like you're not afraid to lose this listing. Like you're not afraid, and it's not about me, it's about you. And I think that was really like you came from a point of like, not like, all right, well, let's see what we can do to like try to make this work and blah, blah, blah. No, you're like, listen, like this is the deal. Like this is what it is. If this is what's important to you, then I know I'm the right person and I don't want to see you waste any more time. So I think all that stuff is stuff we can all learn from you, and that I think that was really good.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, Pete. And I want to say this. The reason why I took Pete down that scenario is because I need you guys to understand the power of being highly scripted. I may not always say the exact right thing, but I have something to say. There are not going to be any pauses in that conversation. And what you have to understand is the seller doesn't know your script. So even if you don't say it correctly, they don't know. You have to do some reps and get used to responding and asking powerful questions. Let me ask you, and I want some contribution here in Instagram and on Zoom. How many of you guys would like to be in a situation where you could get on the phone and overcome any objection and book an appointment for a listing? And when you're at that listing appointment, you can go through that presentation. It's internalized. You know exactly what to say. You can answer any question that comes up. You can overcome every objection. And more importantly, you know how to close. You have the confidence that you can sell that property and you know how to get that paperwork signed every time you go to that listing. If that's you, if you're in a situation where you want that to be you in your business, can you do me a favor? I just want to see who's on here. Put me in the chat. I want to see who's really hungry versus those people who are like, I could eat a snack. Who's hungry? The reason why I'm asking you guys that question, I don't talk about it as much as I probably should, but you love Pete and how he responds, and Ashley Davison and Bomika and all these people, Ashley, who are on here, and David Gossett, they all have one thing in common. They've taken my push training program, this thing here, and I got it starting on Tuesday of next week, and I close registration on Sunday. If anyone wants to have a conversation with me about what is push, I'm going to give you my cell phone number for you to text me, and I'm going to schedule a call with you between now and Sunday. Here's one thing I'll tell you. You know how I'm really pushing hard to close here on this call and teaching you guys how to close? I'm not a heavy closer when it comes to push. You got to understand that this is an investment that you make in you if you want to have the type of business that you want to have. And what I learned this week, because we're independent contractors, when you sign up for training and coaching, guess what? You're able to write it off 100%. So this is a time to invest in yourself to make sure in 2025, you can have the type of business you want to have. And I think you guys know it's all about learning how to be listing focused and go out there and get on these phones and prospect. Because what Pete said is correct. I wasn't afraid to lose that listing because I prospect every day. And I have other sellers that I know who are interested in working with me. So if you're not coachable, next, because I know how to get on the phone and make the calls. You're not the only person I have in my pipeline. I want you guys to be in that same situation. So I'm going to put my cell phone number in the chat. If you want to talk to me, say, David, send me the link. I will send you a link today where you can book a call with me for like 10, 15 minutes. We're going to have a conversation about push, talk to you about what it is, when it's happening, what you can expect to get out of it. And I hope to hear from at least one person in here who's serious about taking listings in the next 90 days. If you knew you could get 5 listings in the next 90 days, I'm sure you would be interested in signing up, wouldn't you? Well, guess what? The listings are already out there. Get on Zillow. You'll see every single freaking for sale by owner. They're not selling right now. They're still there. What you need to learn how to do is call them, how to have the right conversation to get them to meet with you. And then more importantly, how to show your value when you're at their house so that you can get the paperwork signed. The listings are there. People already have their hands raised saying, I have a house to sell. We got to get you to a point where you feel comfortable getting off the sidelines and picking the phone up. It is heavy lifting in the beginning, but guess what? That drunk monkey goes away and you get stronger with the reps. So whether you take push or you just start getting comfortable, getting uncomfortable, you need to start putting in the reps. This is a great place to get it started. And yet nobody on this call is going to be listing their house with you. So you have to get comfortable calling actual sellers. The importance of practice, the importance of a program like Push is you learn how to sweat and practice so you don't bleed in war. Make all your mistakes here. Make all your mistakes in Push and get coached on how to say it correctly so you can go out and get the business. So I love to help you. However I can, reach out to me. My number's in the chat. Send me a text and I'll get back with you later on this morning. With that being said, next week, we're going to do objection handling. What I want you to do is bring the objections that you're getting from your actual calls and your appointments like Pete did. Hey, this happened to me this week. Let's cover this. If you really want to get value, start getting out there, having conversations with people. When you get that question you can't overcome, when you get that objection you can't overcome, bring it here. Throw it in the chat and say, this is the objection I want to cover. And we'll go over it with you. We'll help you learn how to firm that up. And we'll show you 2 or 3 different ways to overcome the same objection. So if they keep hitting you with the same thing, you know how to respond and overcome. I'm ready. I'm ready to make 2025 a good year. Question is, are you? I say, let's go. I'm out.
Thank you.
I didn't eat my breakfast this morning. My stomach is grumbling here. I gotta go get some food. But I appreciate you guys. And what I will say this, like I was telling Bamika, the power of one more. Today, give yourself permission to do just one more. So if you're closing for an appointment and you've closed 3 times, close one more time, right? If you're door knocking, knock one more door. If you're making calls and you're ready to give up, make one more call. You'd be surprised in doing the power of one more, what can happen when you decide to push through and continue to make calls, continue to close, continue to door knock, continue to show up. One more. Just give it one more shot and see what happens and the results you get. Because if they're still talking to you, they're still interested in what you have to say. So keep going. Power of one more. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Let me see here. Jerome, let me ask you a question real quick. I'm not recording anymore, am I? No, I'm not. Hold on. Guys on Instagram,
Sir.
If you want that information, thank you, Liz, for putting my number in IG. You guys hit me up. I'll send you a link. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for being here today. Hopefully you got some value from it. All right, man. If you could reinvent the hot potato game, how would you reinvent it to make it a little bit more exciting? I had in my mind that it was going to be a lot more fun and engaging and energetic, and it wasn't necessarily what I wanted it to be, even though people said there was value from it. Is there anything you would do to switch it up a little bit?
I would just I like it. I think they just need a little more time, and you got to call people out like fast and directly, like make it like get people on edge. I would, if I were you, I would just be the leader or find a leader where they just call people out and call out the people that's not like you do. You're like somebody that hasn't spoken. That's what I'll just make it longer. Look, you get 60 seconds. We're gonna run through 10 or something like that, and then just call them out. Don't like it's the same thing like when we with the seller. Don't ask them permission. Who wants to share their wins? They're like crickets. It's like David, share win.
Yeah.
Matt, share win. Like just call them out, and I think that'll And
Yeah.
it just needed to be longer. I think that was it. Like maybe a minute, maybe even up to 90 seconds at some point. That's
I felt
all
like
because you
that
couldn't
too.
dig for the motivation.
Yeah, 30 seconds was not enough time because as people were starting to get warmed up, I'm like, time. And so I realized that I didn't give it enough time. So thank you. That's good feedback.
So a
Matt,
little longer, like maybe 60-second. I think 90 might be it, but maybe like try 60, then 90, and then like when we do ours, we do 2 minutes.
okay.
Yeah. So
Okay. That's
it's
good
enough
feedback.
people for you to just keep running the reps.
We'll do that. I'm gonna switch that up. Matt, welcome back. And Taylor over in California. What's up, man? Let me ask you a question if you're able to unmute. I appreciate you
Yeah,
being here today, man. Was it helpful for you?
it was helpful. Yeah. And just to add to the hot potato game, I'm just curious, like, so after the 60 or 90 seconds, are you giving feedback? Because then, like, that would slow the game down a little bit more. So just something to keep in mind.
Taylor, that's the hardest part for me. Like I know I should just let the game go, but sometimes I feel like, oh, I gotta say something. And what I need to do is just maybe do a better job of taking some notes and then at the end say, here's what happened. But sometimes, man, I can't keep my mouth shut. That's me. That's my fault. just being honest with you, man. Because I got so many things that I want to add in there. But no, I appreciate you being here, man. I hope you continue to come back. And like I said, you're welcome to all the calls, and I appreciate you, man.
Of course. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Jerome, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick. I was struggling with that at one point too. And you know, Tiffany, like we're from the same group. She was like, that's because you're micromanaging. I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. So I pulled back on like interjecting with my feedback and stuff like that, like a lot more. And it helped like the calls run smoother. So that's what I would do. It is hard when you're like a leader and you want to help. You got to find like the right balance. Like, all right, you know what? Let it run. Let them play.
I'm working on that. Yeah, that's good feedback. That's good recommendation. Thank you. Thank you. That's really good. What's up, Mr. Matt? I thought you were going to be on IG Live. I was surprised to see you come back.
I was on both, bro. I had my team meeting. I had to jump in yours and was watching the script practice, and then I had it up on the phone while I was doing my team meeting.
The art of multitasking.
That's it, brother, man. And I'm looking at the time too. I'm like, oh, it's 9:28. He's gonna be doing the promo. Okay, good. I have to pay attention now. I like mute my whole team.